Welcome back to Dev Errors Fixed. Today, one that trips up every beginner and plenty of seniors too. FileNotFoundError. No such file or directory. The maddening part is that the exact same line of code can work perfectly on your machine and then crash the moment you run it from a different folder or on a server. It almost always means one thing, and it's not the thing people assume. Let's reproduce it, understand exactly what Python is doing, and fix it for good. First, what I thought, now what the error actually means. FileNotFoundError is Python telling you, I went to the path you gave me and there was nothing there. Simple enough. The trap is in how Python turns a name like config.txt into a full path. When you write open of config.txt with no folder in front, that's a relative path. And Python completes it using the current working directory, which is the folder you were standing in when you launched Python, not the folder your script file lives in. Those two are often different. Run your script from its own folder and it finds the file. Run the very same script from your home directory or from a scheduler or inside Docker, and suddenly config.txt points somewhere else entirely and it's not found. The file didn't move. Your starting point did. Let's put the whole thing on one screen. On the left, your code, open of config.txt. Because there's no folder in front of the name, Python treats it as relative. And to finish it, it glues that name onto the current working directory, the place you launched Python from. That's the box in the middle. If you launched from the project folder, the path becomes project/config.txt. But look where the file actually is. It's in a data subfolder, project/data/config.txt. So Python looks in the project root, finds nothing, and throws FileNotFoundError, and the message ends with the exact text it tried in quotes config.txt. That quoted value at the very end is your number one clue. Now the three real causes on the right: one, and it's the big one, a relative path plus the wrong working directory, exactly what we just saw. 2, a plain typo, the wrong name or the wrong extension, config.txt instead of .txt. 3, the file genuinely isn't there yet, and underneath, the fix, which we'll write in a moment. Stop depending on where you launched Python, anchor the path to the script's own location using a special variable called dunderFile, build a full path from there, and if the file might legitimately be missing, handle that on purpose instead of crashing. Let's build the bug first. Our little shell program just wants to read a config file and print it. Here's the skeleton, a comment saying the file lives in a data subfolder and an empty spot where we'll open it. Straightforward. Let's fill in the line the way almost everyone writes it the first time. And there's the bug, and it looks completely innocent. Open config.txt, read it, print it. There's nothing wrong with the syntax. The problem is that bare name, config.txt, with no path in front. We're trusting that whoever runs this will happen to be standing in exactly the right folder, but the file actually lives one level down, in Delta. So the instant we run this from the project folder, Python looks for config.txt right there in the root, doesn't find it, and stops. Let's watch it happen. Run it, and there it is. FileNotFoundError. Errano 2, no such file or directory, and then quoted at the very end, config.txt. Read the quoted value literally because it's exactly what Python tried to open. It's a bare name, which tells you Python resolved it against the current folder and came up empty. The file itself is fine, sitting safely in data. We just pointed at the wrong place. Here's the plan for the fix, and it's two ideas. First, stop using a bare relative name. Python hands every script a variable called dunderFile, which is the path to the script itself. Take its parent, the folder the script lives in, and that anchor is correct no matter where you launch Python from. Then build the real path by joining on the subfolder and fill a name data config.txt. That gives you a full absolute path straight to the file every time. Second, decide what should happen if the file really is missing. A first run, a fresh install. Instead of letting it crash, wrap the red in a try and catch FileNotFoundError and fall back to sensible defaults. Now the program is robust. It finds the file wherever it's run from, and it fails gracefully when the file is genuinely absent. So here's the fix in code. We import path from pathlib. Then the keyline path of $file.parent gives us the folder this script lives in, and we join on data and config .txt to point right at the real file, because it's anchored to the script, not to wherever you happen to launch Python. This works from any folder. Then we wrap the read in a try and the catch FileNotFoundError. So if the config genuinely isn't there, we print a friendly note and use defaults instead of crashing. Two small changes: anchor the path and handle the missing case on purpose. Run the fixed version and it prints the config cleanly. Theme dark, volume 8, and here's the important part: it works no matter which folder you launch it from, because the path is anchored to the script itself, not to where you're standing. Same program, now portable, and it won't fall over the first time the file is missing. Quick recap: FileNotFoundError means Python looked at a path and found nothing there. 9 times out of 10, it's not a missing file, it's a bare relative name being resolved against the current working directory, the folder you launched Python from, which isn't where your script lives. The fix is to anchor the path to the script itself with path of $file.parent, then join on the real subfolder and file name so it works from anywhere. And if the file might be legitimately missing, catch FileNotFoundError and fall back to defaults. Read the quoted path at the end of the error and fix where you're pointing, not the file. A quick note: turning these everyday errors into clear, lasting fixes takes real work. If it helps you, the wallets are on screen and there's a Ko-fi link below. Every tip funds the next one. Thank you. That's FileNotFoundError, almost always a relative path resolved against the wrong folder, not a truly missing file. Anchor to the script with file, build the full path, and handle the missing case on purpose. Subscribe so you don't miss the next fix, tell me in the comments which error to tackle next, and I'll see you there.